Ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon's keynote will begin in about 5 minutes. Please move to your seats and help us to start on time. And also, please mute your electronic devices. Thank you.
Defense agencies have critical missions with far-reaching impact. And in today's fast-changing world, they're required to be adaptable, agile, and future-ready. That's why leading defense agencies trust the Appian AI-powered platform to automate processes for their most complex, mission-critical applications. Whether you need help recruiting and training, procuring faster, or assessing manpower readiness, Appian is the platform for change. The Appian AI-powered process platform combines key capabilities to get the work done faster. More than 200 government agencies trust Appian and our open, enterprise-grade platform. For industry-leading availability, scalability, and security to deliver on their missions, defense agencies turn to Appian. The U.S. Marine Corps chose Appian to build the future backbone for all their logistics business operations and reduced application access time by 95%. The U.S. Defense Information Systems Agency consolidated 12 systems into a single user interface, reducing operations and management expenses by 50%. The U.S. Air Force's CON-IT program is a model of successful digital transformation at the DoD, an enterprise-wide contract management system that unified 7 disparate systems into one. Accelerate your system and process modernization. Visit Appian at booth 2315.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the afternoon keynote. As we begin today's session, AFCEA and the U.S. Naval Institute would like to recognize the industry partners who have generally sustained this event as sponsors and exhibitors. Without their support, events like this cannot happen. Please consult the app or website for the full list and be sure to visit their booths during the week and see the new technology and solutions they have to offer. We'd particularly like to thank our premier sponsors, Lockheed Martin and Appian. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please join me in welcoming to the stage Lieutenant General Susan Lawrence, U.S. Army retired, President and CEO of AFCEA International.
I started that one 2 years ago because this place was like dead. So it's great to see you all. It's great to see our young service members here that's going to be receiving some awards here today. So it is great to be back in sunny San Diego again and to see so many familiar faces and the support that we've had. It's been an exciting day already with all that's been going on. If you haven't seen our industry partners out on the exhibit floor, they brought the best this year. It is really amazing. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the winners of this year's Copernicus Award. The Copernicus Award was established in 1997 by AFCEA and the Naval Institute to recognize members of the Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard who sustained superior performance in C4IT-related jobs. The Copernicus winners, along with the other awardees, will be recognized individually later this afternoon at a private awards ceremony. I would like to ask now our winners to please stand up. Thank you very much. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you all this afternoon with your family members and your commanders. Additionally, each year at West, the Naval Institute and AFCEA recognizes the service of those military members who have been selected by their commands for particularly superior service in this past year. We call them the Enlisted Superior Performance, and I would like to ask the ESP winners to please stand and have the audience recognize you. Congratulations. We thank you all, the awardees, for your service to a very grateful nation, so congratulations again. We are pleased to recognize Appian as the sponsor for this afternoon's keynote session. At this time, I would like to invite Hassan Wardak, Account Executive for the Navy, to the stage to make some opening remarks.
Hi, my name is Hassan Wardak. I lead the Navy and Marine Corps accounts here for Appian. Just want to take a minute or two just to speak a little bit about Appian and acknowledge the great work that AFCEA International and the U.S. Naval Institute have done in putting this event together. Appian is a low-code platform for building mission-critical applications, workflow-driven mission-critical applications, and a lot of our focus is on the topics of what this conference is covering around acquisition and supply chain. Many of those applications are live with the Navy and Marine Corps and other DoD customers. We do that through low code, and low code means that you drag and drop objects into how you build applications rather than thousands of lines of code. Now with a lot of emerging requirements like artificial intelligence, machine learning, generative AI, and RPA, we try to integrate with those technologies to build those applications more rapidly and deliver for our Marines and sailors. So we are here. We have a booth on the floor. Happy to have those follow-up conversations if you want to learn more. I really appreciate everyone coming out to this keynote and the opportunity to sponsor this event. Thank you.
It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, the Honorable Christopher Lowman, Assistant Secretary for Defense for Sustainment, who is joining us remotely today. Terry, have we got him connected? Hello, sir. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lowman is the Principal Staff Assistant and Advisor to the Senior Leadership of the Department of Defense on DoD logistics, material readiness, and product support. He oversees the Defense Logistics Agency and the Defense Microelectronics Activity and is the Principal Logistics Official when Senior Department of Defense Management. He joined the Army Civil Service in 1989 after completing an enlistment in the Marine Corps and has served across the United States Army and Joint Force for more than 3 decades. We appreciate you joining us remotely. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm welcome to the Honorable Christopher Lowman.
Well, thank you very much, General Lawrence. I really appreciate that introduction. And hello to AFCEA. I wish I was there with you. We're having a kind of rather wet and cold day here in Washington, and I'm sure your weather is different, but better in San Diego. So it's an honor for me to be here. As General Lawrence indicated, I've been a career logistician with the United States Army for over 30 years, working in the sustainment field, both here in Washington and around the globe. And so I'm particularly honored to address this group this afternoon. And I really can't start off any better than with an introduction from General Lawrence. And so, ma'am, I really appreciate that introduction and also appreciate the invitation from AFCEA to do this. So your leadership as President and CEO of AFCEA International, it continues to inspire a collaborative spirit within our defense community, perfectly embodying the ethos of today's event, particularly why I'm excited to be here, because we are and we find ourselves in a strategic environment that is distributed, it is contested, and probably most important for this time period is it's ever-changing. Our adversaries are not just challenging us on traditional battlefields, but are increasingly putting our entire defense ecosystem at risk. The unfolding conflicts in Europe and the Middle East starkly remind us that the operational realities of modern warfare are anything but static or predictable. They will be fast, mobile, and without a doubt, lethal in the future. I'm sure the NDS is familiar to many of you in this room, but let me just go over the 4 priorities to illustrate the connection between what we're doing for acquisition and sustainment and the department's higher-level priorities. The NDS lays out 4 priorities: defending the homeland, pace to the growing multi-domain threat posed by our peer competitors, deterring strategic attacks against the United States and our allies and partners, deterring aggression while being prepared to prevail in conflict when necessary, prioritizing the China challenge in the Indo-Pacific and the Russia challenge in Europe. And finally, and I think most importantly for this community, the 4th priority is building a resilient joint force and defense ecosystem. The department, specifically the acquisition and sustainment communities, has made tremendous contributions to enhance the resilience of the joint force, the entire defense ecosystem, and the warfighting capabilities of our friends around the world. Please allow me to discuss the objectives we are pursuing that has enabled progress. To navigate the complexities of today's strategic environment and to ensure our readiness against the multi-domain threat posed by peer competitors, we have determined that we must first prevail in a contested logistics environment, ensuring our forces are sustained closer to the point of need, both in the manufacture of supplies, but also in the maintenance, repair, and overhaul of our key warfighting platforms. We must also modernize our organic industrial base and expand the capacity of the defense industrial base overall, making it robust enough to support the rapid fielding of capabilities and adaptable to the evolving demands of warfare. We must establish data-informed sustainment strategies, leveraging cutting-edge technologies to predict, prepare, and respond to sustainment challenges in near real time. Diligently identify and mitigate operations and support cost drivers across all of the service lines, optimizing our resources to ensure maximum efficiency and effectiveness. To address these objectives and begin to operationalize the National Defense Strategy, we are pursuing the following. In the area of readiness of our combat formations, we've traditionally linked sustainment, success directly to unit readiness, the ability of our units to fulfill their assigned missions, a very important combat commander's measure of success. Yet aligning the defense industrial base output with unit level readiness has always been a complex challenge, given the layers separating depot operations or manufacturing operations in CONUS from the operation and tactical levels. Recognizing this, we are pursuing a more nuanced approach to determine the success of our sustainment community, focusing on operational availability and material availability. ASABO, as you know, zeroes in on system availability within operational units, factoring in unscheduled maintenance. Material availability, however, casts a wider net, encompassing the entire supply chain and all forms of downtime across our total inventory, regardless of where the equipment resides, which allows the department to examine each supply chain node and address the challenges identified. This helps us to focus our investments and focus our sustainment and modernization resources. This refined perspective allows us to dissect our supply chain more effectively, differentiating between the strategic echelons of depots and OEMs, our transportation lines of communication, and the operational logistics that directly support our warfighters. A new metric, just approved by CAPE, is cost per day of availability. Now, this one complements the approach described above. It offers a clear view of the cost effectiveness of our assets, allowing fleet managers to better understand cost in concert with operational and material availability, to enable proactive fleet management decisions, enabling the start of a shift from the traditional reactive stance that the sustainment and acquisition community finds themselves in to a more proactive logistics stance that offers solutions before the point of failure. As ASD, I'm committed to this shift, ensuring our sustainment strategies are as dynamic and resilient as the forces they support, and our acquisition and sustainment professionals are enabled with the data needed to better inform the actions required. To further address the challenges of a contested logistics environment and operationalize the concept of integrated deterrence, the department is pursuing the implementation of a regional sustainment framework known as RSF. Implementation of RSF will expand and leverage the capabilities of our allies and partners within the theaters of operations to push the demand satisfaction closer to the point of need in order to generate a rapid readiness regeneration capability. The RSF is born out of a necessity to expand conventional sustainment methodologies that rely heavily on centralized, rear echelon support for the repair of key warfighting platforms. In today's strategic context, where near-peer competitors are increasingly capable of contesting our operational reach, such models need to evolve as the national security environment evolves around us. The RSF is our answer to ensuring that warfighters have uninterrupted access to the maintenance, repair, and overhaul capabilities they need precisely when and where they need them. Focusing on the Indo-Pacific region, we've identified key partners, each chosen for their strategic positioning, their capabilities, and alignment within our operational objectives. The RSF seeks to leverage these partnerships to create a distributed network of MRO facilities that is global in nature, but regionally aligned. These facilities need to be able to support our forces, enhance interoperability, and complicate adversarial planning, meeting, I think, the tenets of integrated deterrence. One of the core objectives of the RSF is to create decision space for our commanders. This capability is crucial in contested environments where flexibility and rapid adaptability can be the difference between mission success or failure. By distributing our MRO capabilities across the region and integrating them with those of our allies and partners, we add layers of complexity to any adversary's planning process. This not only serves as a deterrent, but also ensures that even in the face of direct challenges to our lines of communication, our ability to regenerate readiness remains uncompromised. As we move forward to operationalize the RSF, we are not just planning for the immediate future. We are laying the groundwork for development of future sustainment strategies that can evolve and adapt to meet ever-changing national security challenges. We are on a path to identify 5 deep dive projects slated to begin in the third quarter of this fiscal year that are aligned with our priority partners and represent the initial steps in this long-term strategic vision. In essence, the RSF embodies our commitment to innovation, resilience, and strategic planning. It is a cornerstone in our efforts to build a joint force and defense ecosystem that is not just ready for today's challenges, but is also prepared to confront the uncertainties of the future. Another focus area centers on logistics IT transformation, a topic that we've all discussed for a long time. The logistics IT landscape represents a formidable challenge for the department, operating over 450 log IT systems that help us to manage over $1 trillion in DoD assets worldwide. All of these systems, however, incur a tremendous sustainment cost to the department, and therefore we continue on a path of consolidation and modernization in this space. In response, we have embarked upon the development of a DoD logistics information technology strategy for 2024 through 2029. My office has just released this for public consumption and published it last week. This strategy is a testament to our commitment to modernizing and streamlining our logistics enterprise. This strategy outlines a comprehensive roadmap for optimizing our log IT systems environment, promoting data visibility and quality, and ensuring our systems are primed to support the warfighter's needs, irrespective of time or location. We are also enabling a modernized defense industrial base ecosystem. Our efforts to bolster the defense industrial base are part of the department's larger focus on the full depth and breadth of our total defense industrial base, which certainly includes our partners in commercial industry and within our own organic sources. Last month, DoD released its first ever National Industrial Strategy to guide our engagement, policy development, and investment in the industrial base over the next 3 to 5 years. As the strategy makes clear, our industrial base is challenged by brittle supply chains, talent recruitment and retention issues, lack of excess capacity, and inconsistent demand signals from DoD. As a result, we are focused on driving action in 4 strategic areas: resilient supply chains, workforce readiness, flexible acquisition, and finally, economic deterrence. It's important to note that the current state of the industrial base is the result of decades of policy decisions, and we recognize that it will not be changed in 1 or 2 years. But just as our military adapts to new threats, we must enable the creation of a modernized defense industrial ecosystem that can provide high-end capabilities at the speed and scale necessary to engage and prevail in a near-peer conflict. Fortifying the defense industrial base of the 21st century and implementing the NDIS will not and cannot be a DoD-only endeavor. And we look forward to great effort, commitment, and cooperation between the entire U.S. government, interagency, private industry, and our international allies and partners. Let me now transition to acquisition and the competitive advantage our process provides. The last piece I'll touch on today briefly is our acquisition system. Moving fast is necessary, but not sufficient to deter and defeat the pacing challenge. Accordingly, delivering state-of-the-art capabilities at speed and scale is critical to securing our enduring military advantage. Given the threat environment today, there is no question that we are in an era that emphasizes speed, but selecting the right tool from the acquisition toolkit still requires discipline, knowledge, and experience. It is critical to not only accelerate the process, but to do so in a way that delivers capability at scale. For example, there is real value to rapid technology demonstrations. However, doing a rapid prototype in the absence of a plan on what comes next, be it design maturity, production, sustainment, or other .mel-PF considerations, is likely to build a bridge to nowhere. A clear acquisition pathway to production at scale is fundamental. Simply stated, if a technology is not in production, we are not providing our warfighters the capabilities that they need. As we continue to drive the cultural shift to embrace the flexible acquisition and contracting authorities granted by Congress in recent years, such as the 6 tailorable pathways comprising the adaptive acquisition framework, we also recognize that innovation does not happen in a vacuum. Being able to capitalize on innovation and integrate emerging technologies into existing capabilities is critical. Consequently, trading additive and closed capabilities for integrated joint system of systems capabilities has become one of our highest priorities here in the department. This requires efforts across the department to be holistic and aligned, looking more broadly across the entire 3 legs of the acquisition stool. That compromises enterprise acquisition to solve these challenges. Requirements developments through the Joint Capabilities Integration and Development System, JCIDS. Resourcing through the planning, programming, budgeting, and execution process. And finally, program management through the Defense Acquisition System. In 2022, Deputy Secretary Hicks established Competitive Advantage Pathfinders, or CAPs, to demonstrate challenges and solutions to barriers in capability fielding by illuminating disconnects among the 3 legs. Each CAP effort drives not only process efficiencies, but forces stakeholders across the department to solve problems in innovative ways and identify other areas where new solutions can be scaled to benefit similar missions. Our first Pathfinder program are all accelerating capability deliveries by an average of 2 to 4 years. In most cases, these programs are executing without any additional funding, instead focusing on modular, open system approaches to enable acceleration through streamlined development and cross-service integration. For example, the Navy and Air Force are developing a capability that can miniaturize a ship-based electronic attack module called Medusa for use in aircraft. The time from funding availability through development completion of the new capability, aptly called Pegasus, is estimated to be 18 months, 3 years ahead of schedule. This is exactly the process we need to meet the challenges of this era. This Pathfinder has shown that the wide array of DoD platforms with this antenna configuration are immediate candidates to benefit from this capability, delivering situational awareness and electronic attack functions at scale to benefit our warfighters. And to truly identify and address interdependencies and critical risks, we continue to build, refine, and align capability portfolio management approaches across the department through integrated acquisition portfolio reviews, or IAPRs, as we know them affectionately here in the building. These holistic reviews assess both portfolios and missions to prioritize static portfolio requirements and risks associated with dynamic mission-based requirements to ensure we are aligned. At their core, IRPRs strengthen the synchronization of warfighting concepts, requirements, technologies, and program execution to directly align decision-making with operational needs. Executing IRPRs continue to illuminate the need for greater integration and interoperability across systems and portfolios, as threats increasingly require the development of more complex warfighting capabilities spanning multiple services, systems, and operating domains. So in conclusion, as we stand at the nexus of a strategic environment that is increasingly distributed, contested, and subject to rapid change, our collective resolve has never been more critical. The initiatives we've discussed today, from the regional sustainment framework to the strides in logistics IT transformation and greater alignment of the macro enterprise acquisition processes, epitomize our unwavering commitment to not just meet, but to set new standards in global security readiness. The journey we've undertaken is not without its challenges, yet it is precisely these challenges that fuel our drive for innovation, collaboration, and strategic foresight. Our efforts to redefine readiness, to embrace and leverage advanced manufacturing, and regionally aligned MRO capability within the RSF, and to harness the power of data-enabled sustainment through log IT modernization are more than just strategies. They are a testament to our adaptability and resilience in the face of evolving threats. We are not just responding to the demands of the present, we are anticipating the needs of the future. With every initiative, with every partnership, and with every innovation, we are building a more resilient, joint force and defense ecosystem, one that is fully equipped to ensure the security and prosperity of our nation as well as our allies. So thanks once again for your commitment, your partnership, and your dedication to the cause of national defense. It is through our collective efforts that we will continue to shape a future marked by peace, stability, and enduring security. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope you have a few minutes for some questions and answers.
I do.
Great, great. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a microphone right in front of me here. If you'd please come there, and if you would introduce yourself and where you're from, I would appreciate it. Sir.
Mr. Secretary, I'm Ray Spicer, CEO and publisher at the U.S. Naval Institute. We co-host West with our partner, AFCEA International. First of all, thanks very much for taking the time to be with us today. As we think about all the conflicts that are currently underway, so whether it's Russia, Ukraine, operations in the Red Sea or Gulf of Aden, continuing conflict in the Taiwan Strait, et cetera. They all present different types of logistics and sustainment problems. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about how you're addressing those different types of conflicts as it pertains to logistics and sustainment. And then probably on top of that, you've got a bunch of industry partners here in the room with us. Is there anything that industry can be doing better or differently that will help you in doing your job? Thank you.
Ray, thanks so much. Thanks so much for your support for West and your participation today. So that's a great question. So I'll tell you right now, there are a variety of conflicts that are ongoing around the globe. I don't think this particular time period is any different than what we've been in over the last 20, 30 years. And so the department is handling the sustainment of all of those operations through our existing posture and our existing capabilities. From a sustainment futures perspective, I think it's important to understand that because each region is different and each conflict is unique, what we are relying on in Ukraine, for example, is a network of partners that is integrated and led by Secretary Austin through the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. Over 40 nations participate and are bringing to bear their capabilities. I think what this is showing us is that while historically sustainment and logistics has been viewed as a national responsibility, i.e. every coalition partner would bring and sustain their forces. What we're learning from Ukraine is that sustainment can also be executed successfully through the use of coalitions and partnerships. And that's really driving our approach to success within contested logistics environments. It's influencing how the department is viewing how our posture and what our posture needs to be within the various theaters of operation, the role of allies and partners and how we can expand that role, better integrate their capabilities with our own to provide the commanders the flexibility they need to respond to emerging threats and evolving threats within their various theaters of operations. So industry, what can the industry partners bring to bear? I can tell you that through the use of several ongoing exercises, which is examining sustainment strategies for critical warfighting capabilities within contested environments, scaling from competition up through and into conflict. What's emerging is a realization that our Defense Department needs flexibility. It needs flexibility to evolve sustainment strategies as the national security environment evolves. And so that's driving different ways that we're thinking about intellectual property, different strategies, whether it's royalty-based or whether it's limited access. But the department will be seeking in early competitive environments the opportunity to procure access to or option access to intellectual property. So that's one thing that's going to change. The second area is contested environments really demand that we develop capabilities to satisfy warfighter requirements closer to the point of need. We'll have to examine reliance on long over-ocean retrograde timelines and long airlocks or surface locks into theater to sustain forces forward. And so things like additive manufacturing to satisfy demand closer to the point of need or enable battle damage and repair are important initiatives that we're pursuing now through And I mentioned CAPS, the Capability Advantage Pathfinders. One of those CAPS approved last year was for advanced manufacturing. So what I can tell you is what we need industry to do is join us arm in arm, be open to change in terms of acquisition, rapid acquisition pathways, and or access to what has traditionally been viewed as intellectual property belonging to a contractor, and understand that there are operational considerations that are driving the way we're thinking about this. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir. Sure did. Thank you.
Sir.
Hey, sir. Jason Miller from Federal News Network. I'm a reporter. And I had a quick question, a clarification, and then a follow-up question. You mentioned the DoD logistics IT strategy, but then I seem to understand, was this a Navy-led effort, or is this a Navy strategy that's applying to all of DoD? Can you just clarify how that fits together? And then I have a quick follow-up on that same topic.
Yeah, that's great. Good question. So this is an OSD strategy, which really works with all of the individual service strategies to tie it all together at the top, so we understand the capabilities we're driving to, what each of the services are driving to, where we can eliminate any redundancies or foster interoperability and transparency of the data flows. And then also, it puts us on a pathway to understand progress, annual progress, which enables our ability to continue to push forward towards success. As you know, this has been a long-standing initiative here in the department on log IT consolidation and modernization, and this really is a capstone document that brings all of that together.
And then the related question is, from the Navy's perspective, where are you today with your log IT modernization? If at a very high level, what kind of progress do you hope to be making as you look into 2024 and beyond?
Well, I won't opine on the Navy-specific IT strategy. Of course, I'm up here as the Assistant Secretary of Defense, so really looking at all the strategies. What I can tell you is the Navy's current path is in sync with the department's path and is pulled together through the OSD log IT strategy that we just published last week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. One last question, sir, that was called in, and you touched on it a little bit, but can you elaborate a little bit more on the initiatives aimed at enhancing the resilience and efficiencies of the defense supply chain to mitigate disruptions and maintain operational continuity, especially during a global security crisis?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. So really, the publication of the National Industrial Base Strategy, which is really the first kind of national industrial base strategy that the department has published, really it identifies the four lines of effort as I talked about. But specific to the individual supply chains, the department is focused on four critical areas. Batteries, casting and forging, microelectronics are three of those, and the necessary DPA investments that are required to begin to develop alternative sources to onshore existing sources that might be offshore at the moment, and overall build resiliency within the defense industrial base. And I think everybody's aware the defense industrial base really has two sectors. One is the government-owned organic industrial base, and the second is, of course, the commercial industrial base. And so what we are going through on the organic side, an organic industrial base optimization and modernization process now. We have over $15 billion identified to invest and modernize the organic industrial base. And as we go through that modernization process, we are working through that in a transparent manner with our commercial industry partners so that we are not modernizing or creating competitive capability, but capability that we're required to have and or has strategic value for the department to be government owned, and then clearly articulating all of the rest of the industrial base capabilities that are required for our commercial industrial base partners to provide. And so we're really working towards a more integrated and transparent defense industrial base. So DPA investments on the commercial side, department resources on the organic side, but at the end of the day, the objective here is to build an integrated defense industrial base that is resilient and capable of meeting unanticipated surges in demand, as we've seen in COVID and again in Ukraine. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Again, let's thank Secretary Lowman for being with us today. We really appreciate your remarks, and thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, General Lawrence.
Yeah, we're sorry you're missing the sunny San Diego weather. We understand it's snowing there in the National Capital Region as we look at this. But on behalf of FC International, Admiral Ray Spicer with the United States Naval Institute, we'd like to present to you a token of our gratitude, a Naval Institute book, War Transformed by Mick Ryan, and we will get this mailed to you right away. Again, sir, thank you so much for sharing your time and your insights with us today.
Thank you very much. I will look forward to reading the book.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for attending this afternoon's keynote. At 3:45, please join us for a reception in the exhibit hall sponsored by Taito Athene and Blue Forge, with drink tickets provided by the IMEX Group. Please take advantage of this valuable networking time. Additionally, we'll have several sessions held throughout the remainder of the afternoon in the exhibit hall theater spaces, as well as upstairs in the sales theater. Have a safe and happy rest of the day, and we look forward to seeing everyone at this evening's events and back here tomorrow for day 2 of West.